This video is sponsored by Opera GX. So, this browser is pretty special. I've been using Opera GX for a little under a year now, and I really wanted to work with them again because I actually love what they have going on here. As a gamer, you probably already know that it has these limiters to keep your PC games from lagging, and Twitch and Discord integrations in the sidebar. But what you might not know is that you can also download these little animated wallpapers right off their add-on store, or that you can easily use any Chrome extensions you want with it. Even your settings, bookmarks, and browser history from your previous browser can be quickly imported over with the Quick Import tool. Another cool feature they've added is the GX Profiles tool that lets you build a custom browser to fit what you need. If you stream a lot and don't want your tabs making racket, you can build a GX profile for that. If you're studying and trying to focus, you don't want to be flooded with notifications, why not quickly make a GX profile for that as well? Oh, and my personal favorite, the GX Corner, which compiles all of the upcoming game release dates and sales so that I can keep track and budget for everything I want to get hyped for or catch up on. Opera GX is completely free, by the way, and if you click my link down below, you'll get an exclusive feature in your GX Corner where you can find my latest 12 videos for your convenience. Let me know in the comments what PC games you are playing right now, and be sure to use my link below to download Opera GX for free today. Thanks again to Opera GX for sponsoring, and with that said, let's start the show. It's 12:42 a.m. You are laying in bed, wide awake. You have an alarm set for 6:30 a.m. and you have to leave your home at 7 a.m. You take a deep breath, close your eyes, and sleep still does not come to you. Try to relax, you tell yourself. You pretend that it's raining outside. You like the rain. Sleep still does not come. You look back at the clock. It is now 1:03 a.m. Anxiety begins to set in. The pressure to fall asleep begins to weigh down on you. You start doing math. If I fall asleep in 5 minutes, I'll get 5 hours and 22 minutes of sleep. 1:04 a.m. 5 hours and 21 minutes. This is not relaxing. Time will not wait for you to fall asleep. Every second that passes is irredeemable, and thinking about this only amplifies your stress, making your goal of falling asleep all the more difficult.
How can we put this in a game?
Escaping from planet Zebes, running errands in Termina while the sky is literally falling. That one fight against Okumura, whose hatred in the Persona 5 community can only be rivaled by the passion in the best girl debate. Timers, countdowns, time limits, these are all mechanics that originally saw a lot of use in older titles, but are very much alive and well nowadays. Not unlike other mechanics, there seems to be a split between people that think that they add something to the experience, and others that will literally drop a game because a timer is a major component. You might find the 30-day countdown at Pikmin to be the perfect way to keep pace and feel a little bit of heat whenever you make a decision, but then again, that ever-dropping moon in Majora might put a damper on your exploration and force you to play at a pace that you wouldn't ordinarily play a Zelda game with. And what I find interesting about this is that it's not just games where the timer is clearly there to create stress, it's timers in general. I put some feelers out there on Twitter, and it seems some people simply avoid games where this is a major component as soon as they catch wind of it. One comment I saw mentioned that even the 20-hour daylight timer in Stardew Valley simply being there made them super anxious. In what is supposed to be a zen, relaxing game, they couldn't settle in, presumably because the finite daylight added a pressure to maximize their time. And this is what I really want to talk about today, how the presence of a timer, regardless of the genre of game or really even the genre of everyday activity, clouds our judgment and warps our focus. I've got a little research for you, as well as examples of how it ties into games, when timers work well, when they don't, and 2 games that I personally think are some of the best ways games have ever taken a countdown and done something really juicy with it. So without wasting a second more, welcome to Psych of Play. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a gamer in possession of a new game must be in want of playing said game. And when said game has some form of time limit, whether it be for the entire game or simply a small portion of that game, suddenly, by the very fundamental nature of the software, the game is now limiting how much of itself can be played in one go. What I mean is, one big turnoff of countdowns is that they make you prioritize how you spend your time. So if you are the type of person who likes to search every nook and cranny of a dungeon for bonuses, you may not be able to do so because you're on a tight schedule. Now you've got to start making tough decisions. Okay, do I have time to grab that item? Should I try to fight this guy? Can I finish this before sundown? Is this side quest really worth my time? Decisions that are only necessary due to that little ticking clock, and that's kind of the point. Timers make us prioritize, which presumably is the developer's intent, but incidentally, they also distract us from being able to do so efficiently. You see, prioritization is a process we do in our working memory. If you don't know what working memory is, it's essentially the part of your memory that you use as a mental sketch pad. It's what you are immediately thinking about. If I show you a series of numbers and shapes and then take them away, they're now sitting in your working memory for you to play with and will remain there until something else, a thought, a song, someone asking you a question, more numbers and shapes, really any stimulus takes its place. If you're doing math, you might pull a squared plus b squared equals c squared from your long-term memory, but our working memory is what hangs on to these numbers for a second, plugs them into this equation you've just recalled, and decides what to punch into a calculator. And as you can imagine, your working memory is doing backflips when you play a game. You're flooded with prompts, decisions, health bars, DPS values, buffs, debuffs, status effects, chips, badges, obstacles, potential mixes, enemies, friendlies, keys, locks, moral conundrums, and yes, sometimes a time limit. Which for a lot of people adds an additional layer of stress. And as I'm sure you are acutely aware if you've ever taken a standardized exam, your working memory is highly sensitive to interference from stressors. It's so sensitive, in fact, that a handful of psychologists gave this phenomena a bougie name, attentional control theory. According to this theory, anxiety hinders our working memory specifically by disrupting our ability to control attention, making us much more vulnerable to distraction. Essentially, intrusive, stressful thoughts about task-irrelevant things cloud our working memory. If you are taking an exam and you begin to struggle on a question, an important thought would be, okay, I know it's not B, probably not D, let me go from there. Task-irrelevant thoughts might be, why did this topic have to be on here? Why does it feel like all the hard ones are at the beginning? And why were the last 3 questions all C? Did I get those wrong? Should I go back and double check those? And a timer only pours gas on that fire. According to attentional control theory, since our working memory has its limits, stressors sort of clog our immediate thoughts and make it tough to keep the actual important information in front of us. This leads to presumably a worse cognitive performance. You're not as efficient and you're not as effective, particularly on complex tasks. And
But there's still more to be done. They're looking for the kill. Reckless gonna come in and Brock's gonna get the kill spread on that one.
Yes, this is something we've probably all experienced in one form or another. Maybe you're worried you weren't doing enough damage to win in time, but instead of thinking of a new strategy or making a key adjustment, the thought, all this time will be wasted if I fail, sneaks in, and you have to spend energy dealing with that. If you're playing Mario Party and you really need to win this minigame, you might get so distracted looking at the other person's screen, appreciating just how far behind you are, that you completely neglect to focus on actually catching back up. You might be so shaken by that mistake that you hyper-focus on how many times you can afford to fail, and this distracts you from actually playing well enough to win. You see, the timer adds an inevitable threat and a stressor to what is usually already a very complex set of actions and decisions, taxing the working memory to a degree that is extremely uncomfortable. Usually when we play a game, a handful of things are important at any given moment. How much health you have, which way you plan to go, if you should block or attack. But when we add in a time limit, suddenly all of the things become important at once, or at least that's how it feels. Your working memory tries to put things in order of importance, but then the stress compounds with every decision. Every death is sweatier, every mistake cuts deeper, every hesitation is unforgivable, and every decision is heavier. Now, obviously, not everyone is this affected by timers, and the research reflects this. The difference in subject performance in timed versus untimed exams, for example, based on a lot of research I found, was more a factor of individual traits like introversion, anxiety, perfectionism, and stressor perception than just the timer. If countdowns don't bother you, it may be because you don't feel the need to perfectly maximize your time. For you, this is just a challenge and you're here for it. Another thing to consider is that not all timers are created equal. The timer in Overcooked does not bring the same dread that the timer in, say, Lightning Returns or Outer Wilds does. One is intended to manifest comedic chaos, the other is to communicate an impending doom. Or something, I still haven't played Outer Wilds. Neon White makes you hit certain times on every stage to progress, but you can instantly retry and you'll want to, same with any 2D Mario. They're as forgiving as they are inviting, the stakes are low, whereas other games might be much more punishing if you fail to get the job done in time. Or they might just be seen as an annoyance more than an obstacle. Like in Pandora's Tower, where if you are running out of time, you have to skedaddle back out of a dungeon midway through to feed your girl the flesh of monsters so that she doesn't transform into a demon. We've all been there, for my wife is Chick-fil-A fries. In other games like Dead Rising, the timer may be so generous that it doesn't really affect you. Fire Emblem Three Houses was technically on a timer, much like Persona. You're limited with how many calendar days you have to work with, but there's so many days to go around that you might find yourself wasting time just to advance the game. You have plenty of opportunities to maximize. So for those reasons, not all timers stress all people. There are folks that welcome a little bit of excitement from being on the clock, and there are others who are uncomfortable with timers in farming sims. However, there is one countdown that I think does get players just a little bit frazzled in the best kind of way. There's a little Game Boy title that nowhere near enough of you played. We've all hopped on the back of a Yoshi, but only a select few of us have used an allergic reaction to avoid taking the stairs. Wario Land 4 is one of the biggest hidden gems out there, and in my opinion, it has almost the perfect execution of a countdown. You see, in this game, you have to hop into these little sub-stages to hunt down a handful of things. A ghost key to open the next stage, a collectible CD, lots and lots of money of course, and 4 of these gem shards to unlock the boss of that area. Essentially, each dive into a level is a loot run and you can play it multiple times if you missed something. You'll make trips into each stage, grab some goodies, and once you find one of these frog pedestals, the portal will open for you to come back to the hub area. Cool. Here's the catch. The frogs that let you into the stage are sweet. The frogs that let you out of the stage are strapped. So every time you reach the end of one of these areas, you have to make an Indiana Jones style escape before time runs out, or you lose everything you've found. Much like the ghost in Spelunky that hunts you down if you stick around too long in an area, you play a really tight-knit risk-reward game of exploring more of the level for more goodies or just getting to the exit safe and sound. But it doesn't stop there, because sometimes the stage is built such that you can't get all the shards or the key until you hit the timer. Sometimes parts of the stage open up once the bomb is lit, and now you're overloaded with the thought, oh dear God, did I miss something or will I see it on the way out? Oh, and hey, in case you're fragile to this kind of thing, don't worry, because when you start the timer, Wario comforts you with some words of encouragement. Mario! Then you're hit with this diabolical banger of a song. All in all, it makes for one hell of an adrenaline rush. Now you might be thinking, okay, well at least I can catch my breath and start the timer whenever I'm ready. I can stop here and mentally prepare until I'm good to go.
That's where you're wrong.
Did I mention that in one level the portal opens right above the bomb so you immediately start on the timer, forcing you to go full speed from the start? Or that other levels will hide the switch out of sight so that you accidentally activate it without warning? This game loves to cleverly toy with you. In between some of the level design and the presentation, altogether it clogs your working memory with thoughts like, come on man, please just sneeze on me already. Wait, have I gone this way? No, what the hell is that? But somehow, it generally feels completely fair because much like an old Mario level, you can just retry without losing a ton of time. If you lose all the goods, that sucks, but you can still go get them. You aren't locked into a terrible ending. The stakes are there, but it isn't so punishing that it's off-putting. Plus, since usually the countdown starts after you are super familiar with the stage and its mechanics, you feel prepared to handle the route back. And I think this is when timers feel okay. When they're spicy enough to actually influence how you play without being annoying, but they don't have so much bite that they cause you to get completely overwhelmed. As we've established, everyone is different, but I feel like Wario Land 4 is convincingly the sweet spot for this mechanic. Something that is, however, not in the sweet spot, and I mean that as a massive compliment, is a game called Unsighted. In this game, both your character and all of your new friends are doomed. There is a power source called Anima that essentially gives all of the inhabitants of Arcadia consciousness. Without it, automations become unsighted, primal, and rabid, forever lost to violently wander in search of more anima. There is no turning back for those that become unsighted. And in your journey to restore the source of the anima and save all of your friends, you will be asked to confront both a horde of enemies and the clock to keep both yourself and as many fellow automations alive as you can with what little anima you do find. When you speak to a character, their remaining life expectancy is displayed. You can check on them all at any time from the pause screen, and anytime you enter a new room, you are reminded of your own life expectancy. At all times, you are acutely aware of just how much time everyone has left to live. And so you can use spare anima in the form of meteor dust you find to increase the lifespans of yourself or of, say, this blacksmith. He will be grateful and it'll get you a discount on weapons, but he will also remind you that his sister's days are numbered as well and that you should share some with her. And so you feel this pull between wanting to keep characters alive for their usefulness and wanting to keep others alive simply because you're weirdly attached to them. It adds an eerie dissonance to know that you may not be able to save everyone and that in fact you may be forced for the greater good to spend spare meteor dust on one character who is more useful to you even if you aren't emotionally invested in them, effectively sacrificing another that you truly care for. In one 2012 study, researchers studied the effect of stress on moral decision making. They gave subjects a hypothetical decision to make in both stressed and unstressed conditions. The decision was essentially, would you sacrifice one person to save the lives of several others? In the event the decision maker was stressed and the decision was presented from a personal perspective where the decision maker is required to take direct action to sacrifice a person, the participant was much less likely to do so. In this case, being anxious made participants more receptive to their feelings than to logic. Unsighted presents these exact types of decisions to you under the umbrella of a merciless time limit. There is a tangible sense of desperation and urgency that leaks into every little thing you do. Every mistake, every time you're lost, every nap to rest your battle-proven pup, every missed chest of meteor dust doesn't just burn your time, it burns someone else's as well. And since you are the only one person responsible, Unsighted's use of time creates a sense of unease and a genuine sorrow that, in my experience, other countdowns haven't even come close to. It should go without saying that if you haven't played, you really ought to give it a go. It's amazing what being constantly reminded of these seconds passing us can do. The clock ticks at the exact same speed when we're waiting for class to end, when we're stuck in traffic, when we're laughing hysterically with our friends, and when we desperately just want to fall asleep. The way we perceive time is largely dependent on how much we are perceiving it. It only speeds up and slows down, subject to what you are willing it to do. And I think that's why timers in games will be around for a long time. They may or may not actually add any real difficulty, but by simply being there and making you fiercely aware of the hands of the clock turning, it changes things. For many of us, it clouds our judgment. For others, it may spice things up, and sometimes it can be used to make something pretty damn remarkable. Time waits for no one, but if you can keep your cool, focus on what you can control, embrace the panic, and move with purpose, you just might find yourself waiting for it. Hey there, gang. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Psych of Play. Appropriately, I was in a bit of a time crunch writing and producing this video since I took a week off after the anime episode to travel. I was really relating to the subject matter in this one, let me tell you. Thanks a ton for the reception on the anime episode. It means the world to me that you guys still enjoyed what I was making even if it wasn't gaming related. So seriously, genuinely, thank you. And a special thanks to my Patreon supporters who continually blow my mind with their generous contribution to the show. A resounding shout out to this month's featured patrons: Henry Kenyon, Felipe Belmar, Sir Furious, 19 Box Fox, Blazer, Strategy, Emma P, and Jeroen. Thanks again, like the video, share the video, subscribe, let me know your least and most favorite timers and games down below, and as always, please have yourself a damn good one.